Welcome to the Library and Information Services video tutorial on citing articles in APA style. APA is the most commonly used citation style in the social sciences. The purpose of this tutorial is to acquaint Mitchell College students with the APA citation rules for citing scholarly articles in research papers. The social sciences include sociology, psychology, education, and others, but for most of the examples in this video, we'll be using articles from the health sciences. Also, we're going to focus just on citing scholarly articles. We won't be talking about citing books and other types of sources. The references page is the last page of your paper that contains all the sources that informed your study. In this case, we have a scholarly article from a scholarly journal. This is an original study. We have the authors listed first in alphabetical order, last name first, followed by the first two initials, all of them separated by commas. Then we have the date of publication in parentheses, followed by a period. Then we have the article title with the first word of the article title capitalized, followed by a period. The journal title, followed by a comma, and the journal title is in italics. Then we have the volume, issue, and page numbers last, followed by a period with the volume number in italics and the issue number in parentheses, followed by a comma, and then the page numbers. So that's the basic format for citing an article on the references page. Occasionally you'll find exceptions. For example, you might have a source that is a report or another article type other than an original study. Here is a report that does not have an author clearly stated. In this case, we cite the organization instead of an author name, and everything else is essentially the same. There are other variations, so you should always consult the manual for the citation rule of a particular source type. The next thing we want to talk about is how you reference your sources in the body of your paper. When writing papers in APA format, it is best to avoid direct quotations. Usually in social sciences papers, students and authors reference ideas, results, and data in such a way that paraphrasing is the optimal method of referencing. In fact, as we'll see, authors will often cite the overall results of original studies, so that specific page numbers are not even necessary. For explanatory purposes in this video, however, I'm going to paraphrase a passage from a scholarly article on the topic of homeschooling, so we're deviating from the health sciences theme here. And here is the passage taken directly from the article, and here's the citation as it would look on the references page. And it reads as follows: "Another area where home education can have a beneficial impact on public schools is through competition. While neither system is designed on a competitive model, homeschooling offers a viable alternative for families dissatisfied with a school's performance, thus providing a form of sanction in cases where a school's budget is tied to enrollment. In that sense, failing schools can essentially be forced to pay a price for their ineffectiveness by losing students to other options." And here is my paraphrase of that passage. And it reads, "An advantage that the practice of homeschooling in society gives to the efficacy of our education system can be recognized by the fact that publicly funded schools have to maintain their academic standards lest they lose dissatisfied students to homeschool environments." And as you can see, I cited the page number because I actually paraphrased a specific passage from the article. Now let's revisit the original study that we formatted earlier in our references page. Now we're going to cite this article in the body of our paper. So here's what it looks like in a sentence, the citation, and here's what it looks like on the references page so our readers will know what I'm referencing. For simplicity, I've just stated the results of the study that I pulled from the abstracts, and it stands alone here, but you get the idea. And it reads, "Cooper J.A., Guyan D.D., Ruby B.C., and Scholler D.A., 2011, found a significant positive correlation between TEE and initial body weight, but no correlation between PAL and body weight. In this case, I've mentioned the authors in the body of my writing. When an article has less than 6 authors, you have to mention all of them in this format the first time you cite the article. And notice that I haven't cited a page number because I'm actually citing the whole study. You will occasionally not mention the authors in the text, depending on the context and your writing style. And in these cases, you include the in-text citation in parentheses after the passage, as I've done here. So instead of mentioning the authors in the body of the paper, I just say the authors found a significant positive correlation. And for every subsequent mention of this article in your paper, you now only need to provide the first author's name with the et al. Convention, plus the publication date in parentheses, or the whole thing in parentheses if the authors are not mentioned in the narrative, as you saw in the last example. So now let's say we have an article with more than 6 authors. If the article you want to cite has more than 6 authors, you only need to provide the first author's name with the et al. Convention for the first and for every subsequent citation, as I've done here. So let's review. Citing articles in APA style. The first thing we talked about was APA is used primarily in the social sciences. Then we talked about the basic citation style for the references page. We talked about paraphrasing, the importance of paraphrasing the APA over direct quotations. In-text citations, where the authors are mentioned in the body of the paper, and in-text citations where authors are not mentioned in the body of the paper. The et al. Convention for every subsequent citation, and the et al. Convention for citing 6 or more authors.
Now that you know the basics of APA, let's try an activity on creating an APA citation. Let's start with this article. Rate of weight loss can be predicted by patient characteristics and intervention strategies. Notice there are 3 authors listed below the article title. The next thing we need to do is identify the journal title as well as the basic format for citing an article. So let's scroll down a bit on the page and you'll see that this comes from the Journal of the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics. In order to find the basic format for citing a journal article, we can start at the Mitchell College Library and Information Services homepage. If you go to the Research Help tab and select How to Cite an APA, there's a variety of resources that can help you with this, including some basic rules here on the page. I'm going to open the APA Formatting Style Guide from Purdue Online Writing Lab. Over here in the left-hand column, there's a variety of rules for your reference list. We're going to go to article and periodicals because that's what we're citing. Now, the basic format is listed here, and I'm going to copy and paste this and open up a Microsoft Word document. Now I'm going to paste the basic format by clicking on the arrow below paste and selecting Paste Special. I want to use the formatted text so I don't lose the formatting that we copied. One thing that doesn't carry over is the indentation on the second line. So I'm going to go to View, Ruler, and move this over a bit. Okay, now that we have the basic format, we can mirror it with the information from our article. Alright, let's review the information that's needed to complete the citation. First, we know we need the 3 authors' names. We also need the title of the journal article. And then we need to find the title of the journal itself, which is at the bottom of the page, Journal of the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics. We also need to know the pagination. This article starts on page 75 and it ends here on page 80. On page 80, it also tells us that it was published in January 2012, volume 112 and number 1. So let's go back to the citation that we started. So you can see I've mirrored the basic format for citing a journal article with the information we just gathered from the journal we were looking at. The first thing I have listed is the 3 authors, and their last names are first, followed by a comma, and then the first initial. Notice the second and the third name are connected by an ampersand. Next we have the date in parentheses. Notice we don't need to put the month, all we need is the year. Then we have the title of the journal article, and we have just the first letter is capitalized. You don't have to capitalize the other letters. Next to this is the title of the journal itself, and that is italicized, followed by a comma, and then we have the volume also italicized, and in parentheses we have the issue number, comma, and followed by the pages. So that completes the workshop on creating an APA citation. For information about citing sources or any other research assistance, please drop by the Mitchell College Library or email us at asklis@mitchell.edu.